All right, let's dive into something really unique today. It's a deep dive into the entire book of Song of Songs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we've got some academic excerpts and translations.
Yeah.
And this book, it's like a hidden treasure chest. We're talking about a text that has sparked debates for centuries.
I know, right?
Is it simply a passionate love poem, an allegory for God's love for Israel, or maybe,
A little of both.
yeah, a bit of both. Exactly.
It's so fascinating how even just the title, like Song of Songs, is up for interpretation. Some scholars, they see it as a song composed of many songs.
Okay.
So implying a collection of like individual love poems. But others, they take it as like a superlative, the greatest song, highlighting its unmatched beauty and importance.
It's true. It's true. So right away, right off the bat, we're kind of grappling with this question of, is this a unified work, or is it more like a tapestry of different love stories all woven together?
Right.
And then let's unpack this a bit further. We've got this conversation flowing through the book. It's mainly between a lover and beloved.
Right.
But here's the catch. They don't have actual names in the original Hebrew.
That's right.
Right?
Exactly. And that lack of names just adds like layers of mystery, I think.
Yeah.
It opens the door to so many different interpretations. Sometimes the lover is actually called the king,
Right.
which leads many to believe that it's Solomon.
Uh-huh.
And then we have mentions of Jerusalem, multiple queens, which seems to support that idea. But then things get even more complicated when we look at the beloved.
Yeah, because she's described in ways that don't quite fit the image of just one of Solomon's wives.
Right. She's described as both a country maiden and a prince's daughter.
Right.
Which could suggest multiple women and perhaps, like you were saying, different love stories just intertwined within this book.
And here's where things get really interesting for me.
Yeah.
The imagery. We've got wine, perfume, doves, foxes, towers. It's like the book itself is a garden of just vibrant sensations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And each image, each one of those you just mentioned, it carries like symbolic weight deeply rooted in the culture of the ancient Near East.
Okay.
So take wine, for example.
Yeah.
It represents, joy, intoxication. But in this context, it likely embodies the intoxicating nature of love itself. In fact, there's an ancient Egyptian love song
Oh, wow.
that compares love to being drunk without beer.
Huh. That's wonderful.
Yeah. It seems like this feeling of love as intoxication has been around for ages.
I love that. Such a timeless sentiment. Okay, what about perfume?
Oh, perfume!
Yeah, I'm so intrigued by how scents evoke emotions and memories.
Me too, yeah. Perfume, it's constantly linked to the beloved's name and her allure. It speaks to her physical beauty.
Right.
But also to the captivating effect of her very presence. It's as if her essence just lingers in the air,
I see what you're saying.
and draws the lover closer.
Yeah, it's like she leaves an unforgettable impression.
Yes.
A scent that can't be ignored. What about those foxes, though?
The foxes.
They seem a little out of place in this romantic setting, don't they?
But the foxes are a brilliant detail, I think.
Okay.
In the ancient Near East, foxes were notorious for wreaking havoc in vineyards.
Oh.
Think of them as symbols of chaos and disruption, representing those threats or obstacles that try to undermine the couple's love.
Oh, so like those pesky little things that,
Yeah.
that try to get in the way of a blossoming relationship.
Exactly.
And what about towers? I've noticed those popping up quite a bit, too.
Towers, yeah. They symbolize strength and beauty,
Okay.
which makes sense considering they often describe the beloved's neck.
Oh.
This imagery suggests both her physical grace and like a kind of inner resilience.
Oh.
It's not just about outward appearances, it's about a deep inner strength that makes her so captivating.
It's like she's both captivatingly beautiful and unyielding in her spirit.
Yes.
And then there's this recurring image of the dove.
Mm-hmm.
What's the significance there?
Well, the dove is how the lover often addresses the beloved, bringing in these themes of purity, gentleness,
Right.
and maybe even a hint of vulnerability.
Okay.
It adds like a tenderness to their exchanges, highlighting the depth of their affection.
Okay. So we've got all this vivid imagery, and it's clear that every detail is carefully chosen.
Yes.
But how does this all connect to the bigger picture of love that Song of Songs is trying to portray?
Well, all this imagery points to one of the most powerful themes in Song of Songs.
Okay.
And that is the overwhelming, unstoppable nature of love itself.
Mm-hmm.
Take, for instance, Song of Songs 8.7. It says, "Surging waters cannot quench love. Flood waters cannot overflow it.
Wow.
It's not just a feeling, it's a force of nature.
Yeah, that's powerful. It goes beyond, those fleeting emotions that we sometimes associate with love.
Yeah.
And it paints it as something so enduring and unshakable. It's like love is a force that can weather any storm.
Exactly. And this verse has been debated for centuries.
Oh, I bet.
Some take it literally, others see it as a metaphor for something even deeper, like the steadfastness of God's love.
Right, right.
But either way, it shows us that Song of Songs isn't just about fleeting romance. It's about this power of love to endure and overcome any obstacle.
This reminds me of another passage that really struck me. It's the one with the wall and the door metaphor.
Yes.
It's in Song of Songs 8.810, where the beloved's brothers are talking about, what to do for her when she's sought after for marriage.
Oh, yeah, right. And this is where we see those traditional gender roles and expectations, they're being challenged.
I see.
Remember, a wall represents strength and virtue, right? Making her deserving of protection, symbolized by a silver battlement.
Okay.
But a door implies vulnerability, needing safeguarding, symbolized by cedar boards.
And then the beloved comes in and flips the script.
Yes.
She declares that she was the wall, with her breasts like towers.
I love that.
And this goes beyond just physical attributes. Right?
Yes.
It's about her inherent strength and virtue. She's not waiting to be protected.
Right.
She's capable of protecting herself.
It's a powerful moment of self-affirmation, I think, where she defies those traditional expectations and claims her own agency. It suggests that true desirability comes not just from outward beauty, but from inner strength and self-possession.
And this ties back to that idea of love as a force of nature.
Right, absolutely.
She's not just a passive recipient of affection. She's a strong, independent individual who embodies the very strength of love itself.
Precisely.
And this passage, it's resonated with readers for centuries. And I think it raises questions about how we define femininity,
yes,
desirability, and agency, especially within the context of love and marriage.
Right.
It's a reminder that Song of Songs is not just a love story. It's a text that challenges societal norms and encourages us to think critically about gender roles and expectations.
Absolutely.
And this leads us to another recurring image, the vineyards.
Okay.
We see them in Song of Songs 8.1112, where Solomon's vineyard is contrasted with the beloved's.
Right.
What's the significance of this juxtaposition?
Well, the vineyards, I think, they offer a fascinating exploration of different types of ownership and perhaps even different motivations in love.
Okay.
Solomon's vineyard is presented as this business venture. It's leased out for profit. He expects 1,000 shekels of silver for its fruit.
So it's about production, profit, maybe even a sense of control.
Yes.
Like he's trying to quantify love in terms of material gain.
That's a great observation.
Right.
It's a vineyard focused on what it can produce, not necessarily on the inherent value of the vines themselves.
Okay.
Whereas the beloved's vineyard, that's for her alone. It's personal, intimate, and possibly symbolic of something deeper,
It's like her vineyard represents something that she cherishes and protects.
Yes.
Something that is not for sale.
Exactly.
Not subject to that kind of economic exchange.
Precisely. It could be a metaphor for her heart, her love, or even her body. Something she values intrinsically, not for its potential profit. And this contrast, I think, it makes us ask, are we seeking genuine connection in love? Or are we driven by external factors like profit or status?
Right. So we've got this tension between love as a freely given gift and love as something that can be bought and sold. It seems like Song of Songs is really pushing us to examine our own motivations and the values we bring to our relationships.
Exactly. And this tension, it plays out throughout the entire book,
right,
prompting us to grapple with different understandings of love and its expression.
This has been an incredible journey through just this portion of Song of Songs.
Yeah.
And yet we've already uncovered so much. We've explored the captivating imagery, the complex characters, and, these challenging questions about love, agency, societal norms that this book raises.
It's amazing. We've only just begun.
I know.
There's so much more to unpack and analyze and connect to our own lives and experiences.
Right.
Welcome back. We've been exploring this beautiful and sometimes puzzling world of songs, and I'm really eager to kind of dive into a passage that I think often gets overlooked.
Okay.
But I think it holds a key to understanding one of the book's central themes, and that's the enduring power of love.
Okay.
If you take a look at Song of Songs 8.67, it describes love as this unstoppable force. It says, "Place me like a seal over your heart, like a seal on your arm. For love is as strong as death, its jealousy unyielding as the grave." Wow. Those words just like hit you right in the chest, don't they?
They really do. It's
Yeah.
like suddenly we're not just talking about, a sweet love story, but something primal, almost fierce. Yeah. It reminds me of that other line we were discussing earlier about surging waters not being able to quench love. It's like this idea that love can withstand anything, even death itself.
Incredibly powerful. It elevates love beyond just a feeling, and it presents it as this like fundamental force of nature.
Right.
And notice the imagery too, a seal over the heart, a seal on the arm. It speaks to a love that's not just a fleeting emotion.
Right.
It's a permanent mark, an unbreakable bond.
And then it goes even further. It says, many waters cannot quench love. Rivers cannot sweep it away. If one were to give all the wealth of one's house for love, it would be utterly scorned.
Yes.
It's like saying that love can't be bought or earned. It's something deeper, something that defies any kind of transaction.
Such a crucial point. Song of Songs consistently emphasizes this genuine connection and authentic love over anything superficial or transactional.
Right.
It's a love that freely gives and freely receives. And if we consider some of the allegorical interpretations of Song of Songs, we can see how this might apply to the relationship between God and humanity.
You mean like that idea of God's love being this freely given gift, something we can't earn or buy?
Exactly.
Yeah, it makes me think about how throughout history, people have tried to, use rituals or sacrifices or even good deeds to try and earn God's favor.
Right.
But Song of Songs just seems to be saying, no, it doesn't work that way. Love isn't a transaction. It's a freely offered embrace.
Exactly. It's such a beautiful way to think about the depth and intensity of divine love.
Yeah.
And it challenges us to examine our own approach to relationships, both human and divine.
Mm-hmm.
Are we trying to earn love, or are we open to receiving it as a gift?
Okay, so we've got love as this, powerful, unquenchable force.
Yes.
But Song of Songs doesn't shy away from, the other side of love either, right? I'm thinking about those moments of longing, absence, even jealousy that kind of pop up throughout the book. It's like it acknowledges that love isn't always sunshine and roses.
You're right. Song of Songs explores the full spectrum of love, including those moments of uncertainty, yearning, even frustration.
Yeah.
It doesn't sugarcoat the experience. It embraces those complexities and contradictions that come with deep emotional connection.
There's one particular passage that always stands out to me, Song of Songs 2.15. It says, "Catch for us the foxes, the little foxes that ruin the vineyards, our vineyards that are in bloom."
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like a plea for protection, a recognition that even the most beautiful love is vulnerable to those little things that can kind of sneak in and cause damage.
That's a really insightful observation. Remember how we talked about the foxes as symbols of chaos and disruption? Well, here they're specifically targeting the vineyards that are in bloom, suggesting that even when love is at its most vibrant and promising, it can be threatened by these small, seemingly insignificant things.
It's like those, little arguments, misunderstandings,
Yeah.
or even just those times when life gets in the way and we neglect to nurture the relationship. They might seem small at first, but they can slowly erode the foundation of love if we're not careful.
Precisely. And this passage, it reminds us that love requires attention, care, and this willingness to address those little foxes before they have a chance to grow into something bigger.
Yeah, it's like a call to be proactive in love, be mindful of those potential threats, and to work together to kind of keep the quote-unquote vineyard of our relationship healthy and flourishing.
Beautifully put. And this theme of protecting and nurturing love, I think it's echoed throughout Song of Songs,
Yeah.
suggesting that love is not just a passive experience, it's an active choice we make every day to cherish and tend to our relationships.
So we've got love as this unquenchable fire,
Yes.
but also love as a delicate flower that needs care and attention. It's a fascinating paradox, isn't it?
It is, and it reflects the reality of love in all its complexity. Love can be both fierce and fragile, demanding and tender. It's a constant dance between passion and vulnerability, strength and surrender.
And Song of Songs, I think, encourages us to embrace that full spectrum of experiences. It's not afraid to show us the highs and the lows, the moments of ecstasy and the moments of doubt. It's a love story that's real and relatable and ultimately deeply human.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so enduring, you know? It speaks to these universal experiences of love, longing, joy, heartache that we all share, regardless of our backgrounds or beliefs.
Now, shifting gears a bit, I want to talk about something that often comes up when we discuss Song of Songs, and that's the debate about its interpretation. Some people, they see it as this purely erotic love poem, while others, they view it as an allegory for the relationship between God and his people. How do we reconcile those seemingly different viewpoints?
That's a great question. It's a question that has puzzled scholars for centuries, really. The truth is, there's no easy answer. The beauty of songs lies in its ambiguity, its ability to be read on multiple levels.
So it's not necessarily an either a situation.
Yeah,
It could be both a celebration of human love and a reflection of divine love.
Exactly. You know, the erotic imagery, it can be seen as a powerful metaphor for the intensity and intimacy of the spiritual journey.
Okay.
And the longing and yearning expressed in the poems that can be understood as both a desire for human connection and a yearning for union with the divine.
Yeah. It's like those two types of love are intertwined. They're reflecting each other, and they're amplifying the power of both. It's almost as if human love becomes a way to understand and experience divine love, and vice versa.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And this interconnectedness between human and divine love, it's something that has resonated with people across cultures and throughout history.
It makes me think about how art, music, poetry have always been used to express those deepest longings of the human heart. You know, those yearnings for connection, for transcendence that seem to point beyond ourselves to something greater.
You're right. And Song of Songs, with its passionate language and evocative imagery, taps into that universal human desire for connection, for belonging. And it invites us to see the sacred in the everyday, the divine in the human.
So even though we might not have like a definitive answer to the question of interpretation, the very act of engaging with those different perspectives, I think, enriches our understanding of the book and its timeless message.
Absolutely. It's not about choosing one interpretation over another. It's about embracing the richness and complexity that comes with multiple layers of meaning. And that in itself is a reflection of the multifaceted nature of love itself.
Okay, so we've got love is this unstoppable force, love in all its messy and complex realities, and love is a bridge between the human and the divine. What else can we uncover as we continue our deep dive into Song of Songs?
Well, there's one more crucial element we haven't talked about yet, and that's the role of the senses in experiencing and expressing love.
Right.
Song of Songs is like a feast for the senses, overflowing with descriptions of sight, smell, touch, taste, and sound.
Oh, wow.
It's like this invitation to savor the richness of the physical world and to see how those sensory experiences can deepen our understanding of love.
Oh, I can't wait to explore that further. It seems like Song of Songs is really encouraging us to engage with love on every level, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. It's like this holistic approach to love that embraces the fullness of our human experience.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes this ancient text so relevant to our lives today. You know, it reminds us that love is not just an idea, it's not just a concept.
Right.
It's something we experience with our whole being. And it's an experience that's worth savoring and exploring and celebrating in all its beauty and complexity.
This has been such an insightful journey so far.
I know.
We've only scratched the surface of songs, and yet we've already uncovered so much richness and depth.
And as we move into the final part of our deep dive, we'll delve even deeper into the nuances of this extraordinary book and discover how its timeless message continues to resonate with readers across the centuries. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to our deep dive into Song of Songs. You know, we've talked about the power of love, the challenges it faces, and even its potential for allegory. But as we kind of wrap up our exploration, I want to touch on something we hinted at earlier, and that's the role of the senses.
Right.
Song of Songs, it's not just a feast for the mind, it's a sensory explosion.
It really is. It's like a symphony of sights and sounds and smells and tastes and textures. It's like the authors wanted us to not just hear about love, but to be immersed in that full experience of love.
Yeah. And it's not just about, you know, physical pleasure, right?
Right.
It's about how those sensory details amplify the emotions.
Yeah.
The longing, the joy, the
Yeah.
heartache. It's like they become this language of love in themselves.
Exactly. Think about like those descriptions of the beloved's beauty. You know, we hear about her eyes like doves, her hair like a flock of goats, her neck like an ivory tower. These aren't just like generic compliments. They're vivid images that really paint a picture in our minds, and they evoke a visceral response.
Right.
It's powerful.
And then there's the imagery of the natural world, The vineyards, the gardens, the mountains of spices. It's like the whole world is alive with the scent and the taste of love.
Right. And those descriptions, they often intertwine with the more intimate moments, creating this tapestry of sensory and emotional experience. Take Song of Songs 4.11, for example. Your lips drop sweetness as the honeycomb, my bride. Milk and honey are under your tongue. It's sensual, it's sweet, it's almost intoxicating.
It's like those words themselves are a taste of the beloved sweetness.
Right.
And then we have those lines about the lover's voice where it says, your voice is sweet and your face is lovely. It's not just about what he says, but about the sound of his voice. You know, the way it makes her feel.
Right. It speaks to the power of presence, of being fully attuned to the person you love, not just on an intellectual level, but on a deeply sensory one. And this emphasis on the senses, I think, it challenges us to ask, how do we experience love in our own lives?
Right.
Is it just a mental concept, or do we engage all of our senses?
It makes you want to really savor those moments of connection.
Yes.
The way your partner smells, the sound of their laughter, the feel of their hand in yours. It's about being present in the moment, taking in the fullness of the experience.
And Song of Songs gives us permission to do that, to celebrate the physical and sensual aspects of love without shame or reservation.
So we've explored the depths of this incredible book. The powerful imagery, the multifaceted characters, the timeless themes of love and longing, and even that role of the senses in shaping our experience of love. But as we reach the end of our journey, I have to ask,
Yeah.
what's the lasting impact of Song of Songs? Why does this ancient text continue to resonate with readers today?
I think it's because, at its core, Song of Songs speaks to something universal and timeless, the human need for connection, for intimacy, for love.
Yeah.
And it reminds us that these desires are not something to be ashamed of, but something to be celebrated and cherished.
It kind of normalizes those feelings of longing and passion and vulnerability that, we all experience.
Right.
But often we feel afraid to express.
Exactly. And it does so in a way that's both poetic and profound, using language and imagery that really transcends time and cultural boundaries.
Right. It's like this ancient text gives us a language to talk about love,
Yeah.
to understand its complexities,
Yeah.
and to celebrate its transformative power.
And it challenges us, to be more fully present in our own experiences of love, to engage our senses, to embrace the fullness of our emotions, and to really seek those connections that nourish our souls.
Beautifully said. And as we conclude our deep dive, I want to leave our listener with a final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
In the very last verse of Song of Songs, the lover says, "Make haste, my beloved, and be like a gazelle or a young stag on the mountains of spices." What do you think he's really yearning for in those final words?
Oh, that's a good one. Is it simply a desire for her physical presence, or is there a deeper longing there, a longing for that ultimate union, a love that transcends time and space?
It's like he's inviting her and us to journey beyond just the physical realm and into a space where love is pure and eternal and unconstrained by the limitations of our earthly existence. And maybe, just maybe, Song of Songs gives us a glimpse of what that kind of love might look and feel like.
What a powerful and beautiful image to end on.
It certainly is. Thank you for joining us on this incredible exploration of Song of Songs. We hope this deep dive has inspired you to, revisit this ancient text, to ponder its mysteries, and to discover the timeless truths about love that continue to resonate across the centuries. Until next time, keep seeking, keep questioning, and keep the conversation going.